Juan, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Matt. Thank
You're
you.
absolutely a regular, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But you brought this story to my attention because, of course, there was a big show over this past weekend here in Toronto.
Yep.
Um, I was a little bit of out of commission a little bit this weekend because I wanted to go to the bloody show, but
Uh-huh.
it just wasn't happening. So, but obviously you were following, you were on top of it and stuff, and some
Yep.
pretty wild and can I say disappointing stuff came out of it
100%.
too. So
100%.
let everybody know kind of what you wanted to kind of chat about, and we'll get into it. I'll do my take on it and my side. You give your hot take, and we'll see what
Yeah.
you guys out there in YouTube land think too. So let us know.
Well, man, it was crazy because, Nationals, big exciting event every year. Saying I'm Mr. Canada, like that's a pretty big deal,
Yeah,
man. And we've had in the past guys like Ron Carlo, guys like Zane Watson. Man, like these guys were legends, back in the day. And now I feel like the title doesn't hold up as much anymore. See that there's a few different pro qualifiers, but still, man, if you're in the bodybuilding scene, you want to be Mr. Canada. That's a pretty big feat to
100%,
overcome.
100%.
So now we got the Canadas this past weekend that just happened. Lots of great competitors, lots of good physiques. I will say I don't think the quality was quite as good as it's been in previous years, but obviously, there's still you pick and choose. It's like, man, some of these physiques are awesome. So, as you and I mainly chat about just open bodybuilding and classic, um, at least, let's start off with the bodybuilding, man. Like in
Yeah,
bodybuilding, Lloyd Costello, which I talked about last time, he actually won the light heavyweight. So I'm guessing he saw himself really close to that light heavyweight cutoff. And
yeah,
because he
yeah,
had told me he was going to be a heavy, he's like, man, I'm just going to get into the light heavies. And
yeah.
did not disappoint. Great physique, won the class. Um, the heavyweight winner, he looked incredible. I forgot his name. Sorry, let me I have it right here written down. Heavyweight Joel Jansen looked good, man. I thought he had a solid physique. Now I was cheering for Morgan Sharp. I thought he was going to take that class.
Yep.
Morgan is coached by Ron Parlo, so I've competed against Morgan. I've seen him come up the ranks, man. The guy has incredible physique. Just
And,
didn't take it.
and Big Ron knows what he's doing too, right? So
Yeah, he came in
yeah,
condition, man. Morgan
yeah,
came in
yeah, yeah.
condition. When I saw Joel though, he just had a really sharp look, man. Like just good overall. Again, it could have been a toss up, but um, Joel took it. And then the super heavyweight, I had never even heard of him before. He was out of Quebec. Philippe Laprade, I believe is how you say his name. Anyway, as we usually see, if you're a super heavyweight, you're in condition, you're a big boy, chances are they're going to give it to the
You're
super
gonna take
heavyweight.
the overall. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So he won the overall, so that was great. And then Classic came along. Now Classic, that's a thriving class right now, man. As much as I see and I love bodybuilding, open bodybuilding. I'm a purist. If it was up to me, I'd just have open bodybuilding. But we do see the quality decrease a little bit in open bodybuilding when it comes to competition, because a lot of these guys that look unreal go to classic. They got the genetics, they
Yeah,
got the structure,
yeah.
so they go to classic. So that's where the real sharp competition is. As much as it's not my specific cup of tea, it's exciting to look at because they're all
Yeah,
close.
you at least recognize it, right? And
Yeah.
I think, this day and age with the open, as you were kind of alluding to,
Uh-huh.
the conditioning isn't really it's harder to get there.
Of course.
And
Yep.
it's just everything that they're doing. And it's
Yep.
and it's what they're not willing to do. And they just don't get that conditioning that you see in the smaller classic
Yep.
division, right?
Of course.
And just being smaller, it lends itself to getting that much more tight, that more conditioned. It just lends itself to it easier, right?
Of course. And in open bodybuilding, to a degree, you can say, I'm gonna I'm gonna drug my way up a little bit more, and maybe it'll help my flaws. So
Right,
hey,
right, right.
I might not have that beautiful tiny waist. I might not have that amazing symmetry and proportions, but if I'm big, that's gonna stand out.
Yes,
That
yes,
that's
yes,
gonna
yes.
carry me a little bit further.
It's
Whereas in
it's a
classic,
cure-all for it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Whereas in classic, you can't have that. You either have the look or you don't. There's the weight cap.
yeah.
So we see a lot of those genetically gifted, beautiful, Greek godlike physiques coming into the classic. So Lots of great physiques, man. I have actually called a few. So we see, let me see, man. I'm pulling up the names. Patrick Ducharme, which I had talked about him last time, he won Open Class A, so he
Mhm.
looked incredible, great physique. Open Class B, Kyle Hayes. I talked about him, and that's what we're going to chat about in just a sec.
Yes, we are.
Uh, Open Class C, Brooks Barton, incredible. And then the overall winner, Jordan Jarvis, Open Class D. Guy looked good. I'm going to be honest with you, Matt. Me, personally, I would have probably picked
Yep.
Kyle Hayes as the overall winner. Just like his structure, man. I just like the structure. Now, do I think he's ready to compete in the pro league? Probably not. But out of that day, like he looks incredible as anybody. Once you turn pro, you make improvements, and then I see the potential there for it to turn into a great competitor in the
Yeah,
future. I
exactly.
wouldn't say he's got like the he's not going to be the next Chris Bumstead, but I do see him as yeah, he looks good, man. Like he
And
looks
and
really good.
and and eventually hanging with that
Yeah,
upper echelon type of thing. At least looking like he belongs, right?
of course, of
Yeah.
course. So that's what I had thought. I'm just looking at pictures through Instagram. So I wasn't really I couldn't say I was there and I knew. Now, what happens?
Yes.
This episode is going to be a great episode to chat about being humble, being an adult, and conducting yourself like a professional.
Yep. Yep. And
Now,
and 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 I thought it was a fantastic topic of conversation when you kind of floated it by me earlier today. I
yep,
it's right up our alley for sure.
yep.
Tell our viewers what kind of transpired if they don't know, and let's get into it.
So Kyle takes this class. Awesome. I think he deserved it. Now, from there, the overall winner comes. He doesn't win the overall. It is what it is. Let's start off with number one. It's a subjective sport. It's about what the judges kind of like. You know what I mean? I might love Da Vinci. You might like Michelangelo.
Yep.
You might say, I don't like Da Vinci style. I like Michelangelo's. It is what it is. That's what it comes down to. Number one. Number two, as athletes, we are choosing to say, hey, Matt, what do you think I look like? We're subjecting ourselves to the judges.
Yep.
Number three, everybody worked hard to get up on that stage. And at the end of the day, everybody has their flaws. And, one guy might be better conditioned, the other guy might have better structure and shape. Just is what it is, man. Number four, once the judges announce and the overall winner for the IFBB Pro card and they give it to them, nothing you do can change that outcome.
Yep.
Number five, no offense, nobody cares. Nobody cares that you lost. Nobody. So what happens? Kyle goes on Instagram, whether it be that night or the next morning, I don't even know exactly.
Yeah.
And he goes on a
I would bet that it was that evening. Like I would hate to think it was the day after, having let it sit a little bit and him kind of get right with himself, and he still chose to do it. But go ahead.
actually, you know what I'm seeing? It was the day after. It was actually the day
Really?
after.
So
Yeah,
then it's a little worse. It's a little
yeah,
worse because I can at least we'll get into it. I'm jumping the gun and stuff, but it's at least understandable if it's the heat of the moment type of thing, but it bloody wasn't. So that's actually making it worse. But go on.
exactly. So he goes on to tag the Canadian Physique Alliance. So now you're tagging the people that you paid a ton of money for, who put on the event, who you agreed to get judged by. And no offense, I'm sure he's done it before, and we all have to a degree. Kissing the judge's ass. You're nice to the judges. Hey, how's it going? You shake their hand. Why? Because you're the judge. It's just reality, us as human beings. We see them a little bit higher than us, especially because we're subjecting ourselves to their opinion, and our result it depends on them a little. So I'm not saying the judges are not nice, but it's just human nature. We try to be nice to our bosses. We try to make a good impression on our bosses or the people we want to be liked by. So now he tags them. I bet you the night before, he was probably thanking them, grabbing pictures with them. Says, I want whatever your judges were smoking last night. No wonder Chris Bumstead, Ian Valier and Regan Grimes went elsewhere for their pro cards. But you don't want to have that conversation. Bush League. Then he posts another story saying, when the judges banished you to the side of stage on the very first pose of overalls with a meme of Star Wars, kind of banishing Anakin
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Skywalker.
yeah.
And then he posts another one. Call me crazy all you want. You want to give cards to a milkshake looking mother effers. Fine. Do your thing. But I at least like to be wined and dined before I get effed. And I know I'm not alone in saying that because Nationals had more robberies than Black Neighborhood last night. So you tag the Canadian Physique Alliance.
Wow.
You're somebody who, I'm not going to lie, he is a good competitor. He's got a great physique. He's been coming up the ranks the last few years. So since that, he's got a lot of eyes on him. The judges follow him on Instagram. The organization follows him. A lot of people look up to him. So you got a lot of eyes on you. You're a representative of the sport. You represent the sport now.
Yep.
Now, something that I took a slight personal offense to was we're all flawed. I do it too. We all make mistakes. I'm a human being. He's openly a Christian, which I think is great.
Yep.
When you decide to put yourself out there like a Christian in a public forum, you need to be aware that you represent God in Christ.
Yeah.
Matt, let's say this podcast, for example. If you find that I feel like I've been on enough times to say, hey, I represent this podcast, and you find that I am saying racist remarks, doing crazy, goony things, and you're probably going to come up to me and be like, hey, Juan, like, buddy, you represent this podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
you can't be doing that.
No, of course not.
So, he's posting all this stuff as a representative of the Canadian Physique Alliance, a representative of Christ, and then he goes on to post a picture of the guy who beat him last year at the Vancouver Pro Qualifier, and he goes on to pretty much say that this was a robbery as well. I should have beat that guy. You're telling me, like, so he's going on now about things that happened last year,
Yeah.
posting this poor guy who has nothing to do with the calling. It's not up to him who the
Nope.
judges pick.
No.
So man, he posts that. So obviously this other guy catches the wind of it, and he's like, "Hey man, like, why are you
why are you bringing me into it?"
Yeah, I'm a pro already. I'm not even in your same league, and this guy's upset. I would be too, bro.
So Kyle, aka Haas Hayes, is throwing a temper tantrum because he didn't win his pro card yesterday at Canadian Nationals. Normally, I wouldn't care at all, but Kyle decides to bring up last year and throw me under the bus, so I'm going to teach him a little bit about professionalism. Throwing a temper tantrum after you lose is not how a professional athlete behaves. Throwing a temper tantrum after you lose is how an amateur behaves, and shows that you are clearly not ready mentally to be a professional yet. This is me last year shaking your hand after I beat you. This is me 2 years ago patting a guy on the back that beat me. This is me also last year patting a guy on the back who beat me. I lost 4 times in overalls at the Toronto Pro Qualifier. Each time, I shook the guy's hand who beat me and said congratulations. I took my lumps on the chin and said, all right, I need to get better. I didn't make a whiny post on social media and then highlight 3 of the best bodybuilders in Canadian history and say how they went elsewhere to get their pro cards, like it would have mattered anyway. And the fact that you still have this readily available and accessible to post is crazy. Do I have a perfect physique? No. Did I work on it and get better every single year? Yes. And on this day, a little over a year ago, when I beat you, I was better than you. It happens. When you win, you're going to be better than the guys who showed up that day. And when you do win, I hope you show some professionalism and respect to the guys who are on stage beside you. Because losing like this does not show any respect to the guys who are beside you. Your coach, who is a professional, should be pretty disappointed about how you're behaving. You can be angry, you can be upset, you can be all those things, but have some respect and professionalism. Don't know anything about the Bible or religion, but I'm pretty sure there's some things you need to be reading within the scriptures right now to humble yourself a little bit and have a better attitude. Losing is a lesson. What lessons are you taking from this?
I'd be super upset. So then obviously this guy, since he's a pro now, got a lot of followers, representative of the sport. Some people start tagging the judges now on the post. And now the judges are seeing all this. And it's just you made yourself look like a freaking jackass.
Yeah.
And again, Matt, we all make mistakes. I made them too. To be honest, I've had losses where I'm like, man, I don't feel like I deserve that place.
Yeah.
I keep it to myself. I try to remember what I said at the beginning. I might tell my wife, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I keep my mouth shut. After 2 or 3 hours, I said, you know what? I'm going to come back. I'm going to get better.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if I'm really that disappointed and hate the fact and feel like I was robbed, I'm never doing this. But you go in a public forum and post it. Now, let's say you're friends. Your friends might agree with you. You still look like an ass. The people who don't really know you, now you look like a fool.
You know, I was saying to you, and I think I left a message on that guy's post that was pulled into it,
Yeah.
talking about decorum
Mhm.
should be kind of at the forefront of everything that you do, especially when you're
Yep.
representing, a governing body. You're
Yep.
representing your own personal brand and your
Yep.
family. And then on top of that, you're representing your Lord and Savior and Jesus Christ type thing. So I mean,
Of course.
you're putting yourself up on this pedestal of kind of how you conduct your life and
Of
yourself.
course.
This
Of
is not
course.
very becoming of
No.
that.
No. And again, none of us are perfect. We all go through things like that.
For
We
sure.
all have opinions like that, but at the same time, Matt, we're adults, man. And you have to say, hey, listen, I may have that initial thought. I'm I
Let
gotta
let let
keep
let, let
myself
me
in
let
check.
me let me step back, let me cool down.
Yeah.
And see, he even did though. He had a good night's sleep,
Yep.
and he
Yep.
still did it. He still woke up fuming. So I think and who knows, right? But I mean, I think he kind of doesn't have that certain something in him to maybe be a pro yet, because he should have cooled off by this point.
Yep.
He
Yep.
should have, it's a new day, and it's like, man, I got screwed, but okay, all right, it's fine. I gotta talk to the judges and see what they're looking for, and kind of do the steps that one does when
Of
you're a
course.
professional. Um,
Of course.
but so even with the good night's sleep,
Yep.
he didn't have that first thought. The first thought was still rage.
Yep. Exactly. And that's exactly it, Matt. And as you said, that's what a professional does, man. What does a professional do? He conducts himself like a professional. He goes back to the drawing board. He moves on. Why do you think in sports games, man, when they're actually competing for serious money, I'm not even talking about bodybuilding. Let's talk about even the Super Bowl, the
Yeah,
NBA.
yeah,
At the end
yeah,
of the
yeah.
day, they're shaking hands, they're moving forward, and they're all hanging out together, man.
There's next
Now,
year. There's next year.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
it just is what it is. At the end of the day, it already happened. The winner's been chosen. You can't change it. Now, it's sad because again, it's not great sportsmanship, man. And we don't really see that in the pro league. You're not competing for the Olympia here. And even the guys who are, they still shake the other guy's hand. Look at Ronnie and Phil Heath.
Yeah.
Like or look at Phil Heath, or sorry, not Ronnie and Phil Heath, Ronnie and Jay. Look at Jay and Phil.
Yeah.
Look at Kai and Phil. Like you look at all these examples, man. Look at back in the day when it was Laverne and Dexter. Like
Dorian and all those cats, man.
it just
Yeah.
is, and you're
Yeah.
competing for money,
Yeah.
serious money, sponsorship.
Sponsorships. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
let's talk about the sponsorship. Now, I can't say I've worked in the supplement industry, but I haven't worked for major supplement companies like you have. Let's chat about that, Matt. So Matt, as a as somebody who dealt with the sponsored athletes continuously, Matt, let's say somebody brought this gentleman up to your attention before nationals and said, "Hey, listen, this cat looks good. He's got a chance of turning pro. I'm thinking of giving him a sponsorship." And let's say you got your eyes on him and you show up to view him, and then you see this happen on Instagram. What's going to happen?
First and foremost, it's going to be a no thank you for me. Yeah, he's I gotta strike him off the list, and he's not gonna be considered for sponsorship at this time. I mean, that's just the
Mm-hmm.
bare bones, just cut to the quick. I mean, he's not going to be even recommended or even thought of,
Huh?
because like it or not, this is the day and age that we live in. Everything lives and breathes and dies on social, right?
Yep.
And as a brand, I'm going to want my top level pros, my IFBB pros that I manage. I want them conducting themselves properly,
Yep.
and I want the other tiered athletes conducting
Yep.
themselves properly. So whether it's the micro influencer type ones, the
Yep.
smaller athletes, the up and comers, the mid tier, or the top IFBB pros,
Yep.
you have to conduct yourself properly. You have to sign the expectations of what we
Yep.
expect as a brand. You can't post about certain things, and
Of
that's
course.
the reality of it, because
Mhm.
you're representing us. So
Of
how can I
course.
have you go out there and spout hate or just being a poor sport,
Yep.
bashing other competitors? Not a good
Yep.
look on
Yep.
yourself, not a good look on us, the brand. And
Of
so,
course.
you know, I don't know if this guy is sponsored by anybody,
Mhm.
but if he is, they will be taking a look at this for
Of
sure,
course.
100%. If he's hoping to get sponsored, you know what? We can even take it away from being too focused on him. And if you just want to, you know, have a talk about what people are looking for and how to conduct yourself as an
Yep.
athlete, you know, this type of friction online is not doing you any
No.
favors. It's not doing you any favors. We when people get recommended to brands, the first thing we do, one, is go on social and check out what their interactions are like. We check
Of
what they're
course.
posting. We check where they've commented on and how they've
Yep.
commented. We check obviously the engagement in their own posts. See how
Yep.
they see if they engage with their people.
Yep.
That's a big thing for me. Always has been. If
Mhm.
I'm looking at an athlete to sign, I'll
Yep.
go in and I'll see their posts and I'll see their engagement. And if they're responding to people, they're
Yep.
responding to their fans, man, that makes me feel good about signing that guy or girl.
Of course.
Really makes me feel good about it because they actually care about their fans in there.
Of
And and
course.
and, and so little people respond to people,
Of course.
and it doesn't take much. But so if I
No.
see people responding, they're great in my books. So
Of
but we look at
course.
all this type of thing, Juan.
Of course. I believe you. And even so, he's a coach himself. So
Mm.
when you look at coaches, I think of successful coaches. I think he doesn't even have to be the upper echelon of Chris Aceto, Hammy Ron, George Farrow. It doesn't even have to be that. You look at maybe I'm going to say still famous coaches, but maybe more middle tier.
Yeah,
Let's talk about John Jewett. Let's talk about Andrew Barry. Let's talk about Dusty and Ron, for example. Like
sure.
I'm not saying they're bad coaches, but they're not known as like the
Yeah,
Olympia level
the
coaches. But
guru. Yeah.
they're still. Um, let's think about the late John Meadows. Let's talk about guys like that. If I saw that a coach posted that, chances are I'm probably not signing up with that coach.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the reality of things.
Speaks to their character,
Of course,
right? And
of course,
and and maybe, like you said, we all make mistakes, and there's heat of the moment type of thing, and a day later, maybe not so much heat of the moment, but um, so maybe it's not indicative of who he is.
And
But
you know
but
what?
but 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 then maybe it is. Like, I don't know, right? It's a day later and he's still kind of fuming, and I don't see any real, kind of walk back or apology type thing. Maybe he's kind of sad that it's gone sideways, and so he's trying to kind of save face that way. But it's like,
Yep,
I don't know. Maybe I'll go with another coach because maybe he isn't what I thought he was going to be.
of course. And you know what? At the end of the day, after all this, I do want to say I know Kyle a little bit more on a personal level. I've competed against him. I've had great conversations with him. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He is a nice guy. You have a conversation with a guy, he's a nice guy. At the end of the day, this that you did, all of our actions have a reaction, especially if it's a negative action that you publicly posted on social media that everybody saw, including the judges. Those actions have repercussions.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying he should be hung at the stake. I'm not saying anything should be done to him. To be honest, Matt, if it was me on a personal level, I just sweep it under the rug. I just say, you know what, man, the guy got pissed off, the guy got mad. I get it, man. It's life. We all make mistakes. I've made stupid mistakes. I've made dumb comments. You move on. But I know that that's not what's going to go down with, for example, supplement companies. Or now let's talk about the judges. The judges, I'm not saying they judge unfairly, or now they're going to have it in for him. And because some people are saying he's never going to win his pro card here now. He's blacklisted. Do I believe there's a blacklist? No, I don't believe in that. I think the judges try as hard as they can to put those things aside and judge him fairly. What I will say, though, is as human beings, we naturally
We have some
subconsciously.
biases. Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
For sure.
So if I see two guys that look almost identical, no matter how hard I try, Matt, to put my biases aside, I think in my subconscious, I'm always going to have how this guy has conducted himself in the past. That he said that, what am I smoking?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you know, that he said that the judging is trash.
Yeah.
That so I think as much as if I were to try to still put that aside and be like, hey, listen, he said that it is what it is. Like I think that naturally, if you got two people that look almost identical,
It's going to be in the back of the mind, man.
and that's just us as human beings, buddy.
And you can't fault them if they have that.
No,
And
exactly.
and unfortunately, the way I can envision it going is, now that's going to be his crutch going forward.
Yep.
Oh, because I said this,
Yep.
that's why now I'm getting. It's like, no, but you said it though, and so you can't really blame them. Like you
Oh,
said it, so if he starts to use it as a crutch, then the poor guy has shot himself in the foot and has squashed anything before it even got any momentum and going. Like there was a
of
little
course.
bit of momentum for him or something,
Yep.
right? And he already shot himself in the foot, and not to make fun of your broken toe, but just so um
He dropped the plate on his foot, bud.
you see, I just brought it all back around.
Full circle.
um but so you know yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, you know he didn't kill anybody. It's not the end of the world.
No.
um you know I think it was just a bad decision, and he compounded it
Yep.
by leaning in on it and and not walking it back. Um, I just think he needs to do a little genuine soul searching,
Yep.
and you know what, come out with something really honest.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
um, see, I don't necessarily like the world where, well, now I have to explain everything I do, and I got to
No.
apologize for stuff, and because I'm not like that. It's like,
No, I
no, no,
agree.
no, no. So, we make mistakes. I fucked up. Yeah, okay, fine. I mean, I'm a Gen X. I did a whole lot of stuff that, thank God, nothing was recorded. Okay,
Of course.
so, but so I'm not one to do that, but you know what? Sometimes you have to play the game and you have to make nice. You have to make nice. And
And,
and this is
and,
just
and
the nature of the beast.
you know what, Matt? At the end of the day, I agree with you, man. I don't think the guy should be punished. I don't think it should be held over his head. I said we all make mistakes, and deep down, I know the guy. He's a good guy. He's a
Yeah.
nice guy.
And if you say so, then I take your word for
Yeah,
that. So
thanks, man. He's a good guy.
yeah,
And unfortunately, as you said, it's the life we live in now with social media.
yeah.
You chose to go in a public forum and do that. That has the consequences. So it just is what it is, man. You do now have to live with that image that you have created of yourself and the reputation you now have. Because Matt, I'll be honest, I feel like he had a good reputation. But unfortunately, the
It's
one thing
all
that you did
undone. Yeah, it's all
with the
undone.
judges, with supplement companies, with,
Yeah,
with those competitors around you. And the reason why this is being spoken of is because you're good. So he should almost take this as a compliment.
yeah,
You're good, bro.
yeah.
You're good. And if this was somebody's first show and he came in last place, nobody would be talking about this.
No, no, it'd be a non-issue. It wouldn't have any legs.
Exactly. But we're talking about this because he's a good competitor with a great physique who
And
we
it's
see
disappointing.
potential in.
Yeah,
Yep, and it's discipline. Exactly. And it's at the end of the day, it's the example you're giving to the upcoming
yeah,
guys.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Agreed.
yeah, I mean, I wish Kyle the best. I hope he doesn't stop competing because this is an experience that if you truly believe that you should have won is disappointing. Disappointing, and I bet you part of them wants to quit, and a lot of people would quit. I hope he doesn't. I hope he, you know, picks himself back up, says, I'm either going to try in Canada again or I'm going to try to do a different one based off what he said. He's going to try to go elsewhere. The big thing is he turned that loss into a personal fight with the judges,
Right.
whereas in reality, the judges gave it to someone else, not because it's personal, man. And as
Yeah.
we know, Matt, there's, since I wasn't there, but I don't know, but usually, let's say there's 7 judges. They drop the top score, they drop the bottom score, they use the 5 middle scores.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't know. Actually, let me take a look right now. Oh, I guess you can't see the overall. So he won his class unanimously. They all placed him in first. So clearly they liked something about him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
didn't like him,
They're not blowing smoke up his ass. I mean, they gave him the, you
no.
know,
But just because they didn't give him the overall,
yeah.
dude, like it wasn't a personal, like, oh, like,
No.
trying to get out for this guy. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, when he made those posts, he personally offended the judges.
Yeah.
And then now he started making racist comments.
And
And
then he
that's
did
where
the
it was,
race thing, and that's super weird too, man. That's super
yeah.
weird too. I don't think we should gloss over that either. I mean,
No, because it's
you know,
serious.
I don't think we should harp on it, but I don't think we should gloss over it either.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of super weird.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
why does that have to factor into anything? Like
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a first thought for me to
Yep.
try to make an analogy. You
Yep.
like
And
maybe
pulling
like
it
I
back.
got robbed like you'd get robbed downtown. Okay, maybe that's an
Yep.
analogy I would make, but like why or how race? That's super weird to me. That's super
Dude,
weird to me.
and calling the winner and Milkshake winning mother efforts. Like,
Yeah.
dude, the poor winner, bro. Like at the end of the day, it's like I didn't pick the winner. Like I just happened to
Yeah.
freaking win, man. I'm over here like just
I'm
as
I'm
shocked as
over
you
the
are.
moon. I'm enjoying stuff, and then you're just
Yeah, dude,
yeah,
it's not my
yeah,
fault. Like I didn't pick the win. Like
yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah, man. It
Anyway,
definitely.
that's kind of that's a bummer, man, because that's kind of bad. That's kind of
turning
bad.
things turning things
Yeah,
personal, man.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and
That's
again,
that's bad.
Matt, I'll tell you something, man. In life, most things are not personal. I had a, I was a nutritionist. Long story short, I was a nutritionist in Brampton, dude. I was doing great at my job, delivered great results. One day, the boss comes up to me and he's like, Juan, I'm gonna have to let you go. And I was shocked. I'm like, dude, like, what's going on here? I thought you were happy with me. He's like, You're amazing at what you do. You're doing great. Sorry, Juan, I found somebody that does it at less of a cost of what I'm
Sure,
paying for
sure,
you,
sure, sure, sure. Yeah.
and he's willing to come in more often. Juan, and he said, buddy, it's not personal. It's just
It's
business.
business. Yeah.
And
Famous last words.
and honestly, and when he told me that, I really didn't take it personal because I saw that like
You can see the genuineness from him. That
yeah,
it wasn't personal.
that it had nothing to do with who I am as a person, that I was great at my job, that this was just business. And that's almost what you gotta see the judges at as like, hey man, you're a great guy, you have a great physique. This guy, there's a score sheet, there's a certain amount of poses. He won some of the poses. I actually had you winning. These
Yeah.
guys didn't have you winning. It is what it is. Nothing personal, man.
Keep up the good work. We'll see you back next year.
Yeah.
And that's it, man. So
And
no,
I'm personal friends with a lot of these judges, and they still don't have to place me first at a pro
of
qualifier.
course not. Right,
I can't
right.
take it personal, bro. And they come up to me at the end, they're like, "Hey, buddy, like you look great and stuff, man. You're just not ready, man."
And and that's exactly it. If you took that personal, like you'd be out of your skull. You'd be
Yep,
driving yourself nuts like
yep,
24/7.
yep,
You just can't. You'd be no good to yourself, to your family, to your kids,
yep.
you'd be out of your skull. So
Of course.
I'm glad that you brought this one to me. That this is a good conversation, brother. Um,
And you,
I think there's lessons for people to you know gather from this and kind of take with them, because I mean,
yep,
if you want to be a pro, if you want to be successful in the sport,
yep,
you have to conduct yourself properly. You got to be, if you want to be successful, you have to be professional. And that means
of
conducting
course,
yourself professionally in everything that you do. And you're putting
of course.
yourself out there. There's lots of things that are public facing like this, but man, bodybuilding is such a public facing sport, and
Yep,
everything lives or dies by what you post on social media, man. Like, you build your brand on social media. You can
yep,
also destroy your brand on social media, and that's why you need to take a breath, maybe follow some good people that are kind of doing
yep,
social right. Um, and just because if you want sponsorships, you want some semblance of fame, you want some semblance of success,
yep,
you want YouTube revenue, you want your views to go up, you want all of this, right? Even
yep,
before turning pro, you can make
yep.
good money without even being pro these days
Of
if you
course.
do social
Eh,
media correctly. So man, there is so much that you need to learn.
2 points, man. Number one, I want to use Dusty and Ron, which I know I bring them up often, but I just really look up to these guys as an example of they have themselves said, because it took them both a long time to turn pro.
They sure did. It sure did. Yeah.
They said one of the biggest blessings that I didn't see at the time was not turning pro. Why? They both say if I would have turned pro, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. I was never going to be a top pro. I would have turned pro, and I might have, tried to drug myself to be a good pro, and it just would have never happened. Nobody would have talked. But the fact that I didn't turn pro and kept coming back and back and back and back to nationals,
That's the character building. That's
yep,
yes. Yep.
not only did it build their character, but it got people talking about them
Mhm.
because people are talking about the top amateurs. Man, we see Dusty coming back year after year. We see Ron coming back year after
They
year.
won't quit. They
And
won't quit.
he's one of the best. But once you turn pro, nobody's going to talk about you,
Well,
man.
that's it's true.
So they,
Pro card holders, dime a dozen, kind of.
yep. So they say that was one of the biggest blessings of their career because it has built the career they have now and the name they have now. That's why they're famous, not because they
You're
turned
right.
pro.
You're right.
They're
You're right. You're
famous
right.
because we saw the character they kept
The
coming
the
back and
characters, absolutely, absolutely, and I know personally when I was working with Mutant
Mhm.
and seeing Ron and Dusty in action, and the fans and the people that would come up to them and the
Yep,
respect that they garnered.
of
Um,
course.
and I think to what you were saying, how not turning pro for so long built their character and gave them kind of their chops and what they've got today. You know, I think that they're both everyday men, right? And
Yep,
and
yep,
people see that. Like the
of course.
fans see that. People interact with those two differently than they do
With
whoever.
Jay and Phil.
Right. You Jay and Phil and Kai and
Yep,
whoever's up there, right? Um,
yep,
they interact with people differently. And that's
of
where they
course.
get it. That's where they get it from, man.
And the
So
last thing I want to mention here, Matt, is I used to be so obsessed with the win and the visualizing the pro card and that you visualize it, you're holding the trophy, and that's what I want, and that's why I'm working so hard, and that's why I'm killing myself. That I would go to the show and you don't get the win, but you come in second or third, and you're disappointed and you're sad, you're depressed, and you want to quit.
yeah.
And you're crying backstage, but it's like, man, you came in top three, but you're still depressed and you're sad. Now, I had it's a long story. My story is a long story. Maybe we could touch on it one day, but there's a few people who've really helped me with this, and one of them, my wife, and two of them, he's now a pro. His name is Matt Coates. He's a coach as well. And he told me, he's like, Juan, listen, man, you gotta detach yourself from the win and the pro card, and you want all this, and focus on building the pro physique.
Yeah.
Obsess about the process and obsess about building that pro physique. And man, I'm telling you, it was way harder to do than said. And it's almost one of those like I had to really lie to myself and fake it till you make it type
Yep.
thing.
Yep. Yep.
But I started really detaching from the pro card and saying, I'm obsessed with the pro physique. When I did that, it took me about a year to really grasp that concept. But man, everything became so enjoyable from the training to the process to when I was having the hard days on diet. I loved it.
Well, dude, that
And it
that's that that that's a powerful switch. That's a powerful switch, man.
and again, it wasn't overnight. It didn't take weeks, it didn't take months, it took
A
years of
year. Yeah.
it. And but now, man, like dude, the last show I did, I came in, what was it? I won an overall, but I didn't do. I came in eighth at national, I believe, out of nine guys. I was ecstatic. I was happy, bro.
Yeah.
Why? Because I was at my best ever,
Right.
and I see
You
the
saw the
pro
win.
level.
You saw the win.
I
Yeah.
saw the pro level
Yeah.
physique coming along, and
Perfect.
every year I see that pro level physique getting closer and closer and closer. That man, I show up to shows, and I honestly, I don't even care about the place, man. Do I want to win? I'm not gonna lie to you. Of course, I want to
Of
freaking win,
course.
buddy.
Of
Of
course.
course, I want that pro card. But I've been able to detach myself and say, I already, at 2 weeks out, I say, I already, what did I win? Did I win the show? Not necessarily. But I know that I already won because I have put on 10 pounds of stage weight and
Yep.
I'm leaner than I've ever been.
Yep.
And I'm closer to that pro level physique. And that to me is the win.
Well,
And
that's perfect.
when I let go of the pro card as the win, of the trophy as the win, and I started saying me getting closer to that pro level physique, that's the win. That is when I became extremely happy with this
Uh,
sport. And I
and
encourage people to do that because I often see people who have never competed or have been competing one year talking to me about their pro card and how they're obsessed with the win. And I tell them, you're going to end up disappointed because in this sport, you're going to lose way more times than you're ever going to.
of course, it's almost like sadomasochism. Like you keep coming
Yep.
back for more of the loss, So
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a perfect bookend to this video. That's the takeaway, that lesson there. Become obsessed with the pro physique and not the trophy or title.
The card represents, all the card is saying is this guy has a pro level physique. And
Yeah.
you're not going to get that card if you don't have the pro level physique.
Yeah. Beautiful. Juan, Thank you very much. I think that was brilliant. Awesome topic,
Let us know what
Nick.
you would do,
Let
right?
us, yeah,
Let us know what
exactly.
you guys would
Let
do.
us know. Let us know what you do down in the comments below. We appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time.
Share with your friends. Like, it helps
Yes.
us out.
Thank you.
Comment, even if you want to comment, one's an idiot. It doesn't matter what you comment. Comment whatever you want.
I
And
always
then
forget
lastly,
those.
subscribe.
I always forget those call to actions, and I shouldn't. Thank you, Juan, for picking for picking it up for me, brother. I appreciate you.
Of course. Thank you so much, man. I hope you have a great evening, and then we'll keep chatting about topics
Hey,
like
guys.
this